Hey there, friends and enemies, JoPaWrites here once again, and today I have another Genshin Impact video for you. This time showing off the highlights of the 2.2 live stream that just happened, and I wanted to go over everything that I think is important, some thoughts on each of the events, characters, everything that they've revealed, all that kind of good stuff. We're going to also show off the redemption codes and have those in the description down below as well if you want to get those free Primo gems. But if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Helps me out tremendously, and we are on the road to 1,000 subscribers, so thank you so much for helping me get there. It does mean a lot to me, and I wanted to just jump right into it and talk about some of the things we saw, some of the things I'm excited about, all of that kind of good stuff. Even though I think ultimately Genshin 2.2 is going to be a little bit smaller of an update compared to 2.0 and 2.1, and with the state of the community right now, that might be a little bit dangerous, but we'll have to wait and see. Anyway, let's jump into all the things that we saw. So that was obviously the first redemption code, so definitely plug that in, get your 100 free primos. And they really went into talking about Tomo first. He is a polearm character, Pyro, who is going to use a shield and also be able to upgrade his shield over time. So it's a little bit of a different mechanic compared to most shields where you're just able to throw them on, switch characters, and then forget about them. He is actually going to have a mechanic where he's able to upgrade them. Now, how effective he is, how good of a shield character he is, that you have to wait and see. The other Pyro shield characters in Yan is not as strong, so who knows how he's going to be ultimately. That being said, he reminds me as kind of a mix between a Zhongling sub DPS and a Jin Yan. So if either of those is really stand out, sometimes the Jack of all trades characters don't really shine as much. Hopefully he's a character that does very, very well, but we'll have to wait to see how his stats turn out and whether his shield is actually worth it or not. Because I think having more shield characters is good, even though you'll see later on that shield characters might not be effective against all the enemies that we're seeing them introduce into Genshin in the future. So now Tomo will not be coming out with the first banner. That's actually going to be Tartaglia with other 5 or 4 stars who are already in the game. He'll actually be on the Hu Tao banner, which will be on the second half of 2.2, and I feel like that's going to be a banner a lot of people are going to want to wish on, either for Tomo as a new character or also Hu Tao as a character who is one of the strongest single target DPS in the game, and I know a lot of people have been looking forward to her return. I personally am really looking forward to Tartaglia. He's a great character in the game. I really like his design, and he's a character I can fit into some teams like with Zhongling and with other characters that I really enjoy using. So I'm kind of split on which one I really want to wish for. We'll have to wait and see who the rest of the 4 stars are that are on these banners, because that'll probably make the biggest difference as far as whether you want to pull for them or not. However, I feel like these reruns are important after having 4 straight 5-star, new 5-star characters released back to back to back from 2.0 and 2.1. And I think we're going to see a lot more reruns going forward. I kind of wish, looking back on it, they had split up either Yoimiya or Kokomi from that run of straight new 5 stars, because I feel like they would be received a lot better had they not been sandwiched around Raiden Shogun, who is one of the most anticipated characters in Genshin in a long time. So for that reason, I think hopefully they learn their lesson and they split up the reruns and the new characters a little bit more often, but we'll have to wait and see how they do that going forward. This banner is going to be, these banners I feel like are going to be pretty effective because both of these characters are strong and very much wanted by a lot of the community. So we also have a new 5-star weapon coming, which is nice. At least they're adding something new, which is obviously good. So we may see more folks wishing on the weapon banner, because this looks like it's going to be a fit for Tartaglia from what the rumors are, but we'll have to wait and see what the full stats look like and if this is on the first weapon banner that comes out alongside Child. And we also have a new set of 4-star weapons. We've got the polearm, we've got the sword, and we've got the bow. And I hope these are good, because I feel like one of the best ways they can buff underutilized characters is by adding weapons that directly benefit them, whether it's a 4-star or a 5-star, and that can make characters who are not as wanted more desirable. Same thing they can do with artifacts as well. If they add either artifact sets that are a direct buff for characters, that's how you can kind of make these characters more desirable without having to give them a direct buff, you know, and that makes take some time and some luck in order to build for them or pull the weapons that you might want. But if these weapons are good, then it'll be solid. We've seen the new free-to-play weapons, the Catch and the Luxurious Sea Lord. Those were solid and very, very helpful for certain characters like that are already in the game. So I feel like that's going to be the best way to do that going forward. But we'll have to wait and see once we have more information on these weapons. All of them look like the design of them is all really good, so I like that, and I'm looking forward to seeing more about them for sure. We're going to have a couple new hangouts with Toma and Sayu. Now, not everyone is a big fan of the hangout events. I like them. There's free rewards, basically, and you get to know the characters better. I am somebody, as a longtime RPG fan, who feels more connected to characters as you get to know them and kind of dig into their personality compared to them just being the best, most meta character in the game. So some people are much the opposite of that, and I understand that completely. Everyone has their different wants and desires. But for me, I really enjoy the hangout events because getting to know the characters better through story quests, through hangouts, all of that kind of good stuff gives me more of a connection to the character. So I get to see more of their personality, which I like quite a bit. And if you do as well, then obviously we'll hopefully continue to see these hangout events going forward, because I think they're a good piece of interaction that we can do with these characters who might not always, like Sayu didn't get a ton of time in some of the story quests, so it's good for her to be in something like this and us interact with her quite a bit more. The latest island of Inazuma Tsurumi Island is going to be available as well. Apologies if I messed up that name a little bit. I think Tsurumi is what they called it. But again, the last two updates both got 2 islands, so this is only 1. It probably is going to be about the size of the other islands that we've seen. Nice, because we get new things to explore. We get new puzzles, new enemies, all that kind of good stuff, which is always fantastic. New exploration, level up our Sakura tree, all of that kind of good stuff, which is awesome. I think we've been a bit spoiled with 2.0 and 2.1 with regards to how many islands are available, how much new stuff there was to do, new bosses, all that kind of good stuff. So not seeing as much of that with this update is bound to be a bit of a letdown, but I think this is going to be a slower update, hopefully preparing us for brand new locations in either 2.3 or 3.0 whenever those come as well. I'm not sure how many new updates are planned, but I think this is going to be a bit of a smaller, slower patch, which has me a little bit concerned, but also I fully understand why that might be. So this island is going to be fun to explore, at least for the first couple days, first week or so of 2.2. So hopefully they add some secrets that we can really sink our teeth into, because I also think we're going to have less storyline questing, because we finished the war arc basically between Kokumi and Raiden Shogun and Kujosara and all that kind of good stuff in 2.1. So it'll be interesting to see how they do that, and if they're setting up maybe the future with this patch and with this update. So we'll have to wait and see. Now, this is probably one of my favorite things that I saw in this special announcement program, and that's the new monsters, the Rift Hounds. These look really cool. I like their design a lot. They're almost like detached wolves that we have to fight, and they do apply the corrosion effect. So if you've played in the recent Spiral Abyss, you know that you have the corrosion effects, which deals damage over the time, and kind of avoids shields. So it's interesting they're releasing these enemies right around when they're also dropping Toma, who is a shield character. However, I do think that's a good mechanic for the game. I feel like adding enemies with different attack types, different debuffs, all of that kind of good stuff is important for the long-term health of the game. Now, as world enemies, they're probably still going to be pretty easy to beat and not much of a challenge. But once you get into the Spiral Abyss, it's going to give you a new way to approach some of these floors, and I think that's important ultimately as you're taking them on, so that way you can't just use the same team every time, the same mechanics, the same rotations, all that kind of stuff. Maybe you have to do something a little bit different and challenge yourself, so it's not just a straight up DPS fest. So that's personally how I feel, why I love when they add new monsters with new mechanics, and hopefully they continue to do so in the future. Here's Tartaglia with another redemption code. Make sure you redeem that before the day ends that it expires, because obviously then you will no longer be able to get those free primos, and you don't want to miss out on those. Now we have a couple events in 2.2. First one up is Labyrinth Warriors. You're going to be able to get a free Xin Yan, who I know isn't not the most sought after character, but I actually have her C6, so this event really doesn't do me a whole lot of good for that. However, I'm looking forward to it because it sounds like it'll be a lot of fun. It's with Tartaglia and Xin Yan as your main focal points, your characters that you're kind of interacting with. And it's a domain where you're going to fight randomized enemies, which is good. I feel like that's something we don't see enough of in Genshin Impact. And hopefully it does provide a bit of a challenge. I've said this in the past, but one of the things that I wish Genshin would do a bit more of is balance fun, kind of casual events like cooking or music events, all that kind of good stuff, with harder combat events, and making sure if you're taking on these harder combat events that there's a reward or some kind of leaderboard or something to give you a reason to go for those highest tier challenges, because there's just not enough super challenging end game stuff in the game right now, and I find that's a bit of a problem for folks who have spent a whole year building out these super teams and these characters who are crowned and perfect and fantastically built, but there's nowhere to use them where you're really challenged by that. So I don't think it's something that should happen all the time, because I do think this is definitely a casual friendly game for the most part, about exploration and puzzles and getting to know the characters and story and all that kind of good stuff. But you still want to have some kind of pinnacle challenge for folks, even if it's just limited time events where they can test their might and really min-max with their characters for that. So I think that's one of the problems that we see. They don't do that often enough. In the Labyrinth Warriors, we're going to see this little paper character following us around. Hopefully, it looks like a character or a little creature that we can hopefully get as one of like a Sealy that follows us around permanently eventually. That would be cool, using the charm magic, but that'll be interesting to see. And then in this, I know they said that you're going to be able to use two different teams, like a support team and a combat team, which is cool. So kind of like the Spiral Abyss, but not exactly. I'm trying to see if I can't find where they mentioned that. But anyway, I think that's a bit of variety that's needed. And hopefully, like I said, we're able to find a challenge within this event. The next event is Shadow of the Ancients. This one is going to be basically uncovering research over the course of multiple parts. And this one looks like it could be fun. You're going to have to kind of explore. You're going to get the assistance of a researcher from Sumeru, which is cool. We haven't seen really many characters from Sumeru, which is good, setting up that for the future. And you're going to have to set up these 3 items that basically are going to prevent the anomalous model Ruin Guard from healing. Because if you defeat him and you don't have these things set up and charged, the spikes, then he's going to fully revive, which is obviously going to be a big pain in the butt. So hopefully, again, this is a little bit of a challenge and is going to require some planning in order to make sure you're able to do that pretty easily. So we'll see. Again, we won't know until we take them on how difficult that challenge is. But again, this is going to be the third part of this event anyway. So the first two parts, you're probably going to get rewards and just do some basic research activities. So we'll say Shadow of the Ancients is something that I'm cautiously optimistic about this as an event because it could be really fun if it's done well. So we have a music event tuned to the world sounds with Kazuha. That's going to be really cool. This one, unlike the last one, you're actually going to have another character from a limited set of characters who can join you in making the music, which is nice. It looks like we got a new permanent music reward, which is cool. But ultimately, this is an event that's not going to be for everyone, I know, because not everyone enjoys doing these kind of rhythm puzzles. And for me, they're pretty easy. You're able to knock them out. It's free rewards, and it doesn't take a lot of time. But like I said, having a balance between the combat activities and then activities like this, I think it is important ultimately because you give a little bit of something for everybody. They actually showed the presenters playing with the Raiden Shogun, and it was actually pretty interesting to watch them kind of jive together. And the Raiden Shogun, had a different musical instrument, which was cool too, because it makes the sounds a little bit different, and you might be able to mix and match with your various characters. Next up, we had a Serenity Pot event called Dreams of Bloom. This one, you're planting dream blooms and obtaining rewards for doing so. I think this is going to be a pretty simple event that is just gonna be basically free rewards as long as you can do them. Nothing too special, too crazy here. Hopefully some of the rewards are worthwhile, and I know they are updating the Serenity Teapot in this version as well, so that's good. And I feel like for folks who like creating their own realm and upgrading, expanding upon that, we are getting Inazuma themed island. We are getting Inazuma themed blueprints as well, and you will be able to find blueprints from chests in the new island as well. So a lot of that is going to be very nice for folks who are really into creating your own space there, and for fans of RPGs who do like having their own house and customizing and all that kind of good stuff. Again, not something that everybody is fully into, but the variety is good, and hopefully this event is rewarding enough to actually want to let people take part in. One of the nice things about this event too, you will be able to send items to your friends on your friends list. That's another thing that I would love to see them utilize more, is when you have friends, giving you a reason to interact with your people on your friends list as much as possible, because I don't think there's enough of that in the game currently. Yeah, here's the update to the Serenity Teapot, the new realm layout, new furnishing, which is the floating platform, so you can kind of create a Adepti location up on the floating rocks, which is cool. You can also, like I said, open the remarkable chests on the new island in Inazuma in order to get other blueprints, as well as buying them from Tubby. So all of that is pretty cool. It's nothing too crazy, but is nice little quality of life updates that, as long as they continue to do that over the course of time and perfect things, I think that's going to be really good. Because if you're a new player coming in, there's going to be so much to do, so many rewards, so many things to chase, that it's going to take a long time for you to catch up, for sure. They also announced a partnership with Razer, which is fine, whatever. Here's the last redemption code for folks if you want to snag some more Primos and some more with this one. There's also a concert, which I thought was really, really cool. I know, again, if you're into those types of things, if you're into the music of Genshin Impact, highly recommend you check out the concert. But use these redemption codes for Primo Gems. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments down below, what are you most looking forward to about Genshin Impact 2.2, and what might you be concerned about going forward with the next update. My name is JoPaWrites. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll catch you all later.